This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Did you really think the year was going to end and we were not going to do one more show of the Rated R Safety Show? You got to be out of your mind, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get it started.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, hello and welcome to the last Rated R Safety Show of the decade. Today's 365th day of the year 2019. So what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? That means that this is coming to an end here tonight.
Duh.
The end of the decade, the end of 2019. And I am glad that we were able to get one more little episode in before it was all said and done. Love it, love it, love it. So tomorrow, 2020, brand new start to a whole new decade. And hey, it's going to be fun for all of us. Anywho, I'm not going to waste our time because I know that I am coming to you late. So we're going to get started right now with the news.
Happy holidays from all of us at Safety FM. To you, wherever you are.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
So taking it from the top. A Pure Romance survey indicates that 2019 was a good year for banging. Oh yeah, you heard me right there. For banging. 44% of respondents say that they had the best sex ever this year, and nearly half said that sex lives improved year over year. 1 in 5 did it in a car for the first time. 1 in 6 tried role play for the first time. So I don't know. Sounds like a good sex year for 2019. I don't know how much safety shit that's related there, but
Duh.
Yeah, I wanted to share the news. This is something that actually came up. So I figured, hey, it's time for us to talk about it because, it's that kind of fun time of the year, especially coming to the end. Who the hell knows what the hell's going to go on tonight with some people.
Duh.
Anyways, hedge funds aren't on the way they used to be. For the 5th year in a row, the year will end with fewer firms that it started with since 2015. 4,000 funds have been liquidated, according to Bloomberg reports. Part of the reason for the closure is a robust stock market, which gained about 28% this year. That would be well out of the line in expectations for good returns of a typical fund. So, funds are funds, but I look at it and I go, well, you need to invest where you think it's good. Good. And you know what to do with your money. Well, I hope you know what to do with your money. But I have a good friend that can help you out. Oh, yeah. We can probably talk about that a little bit later. Pope Francis calls on families to commute more and commute better, starting with ditching phones at mealtimes. Oh, yeah. I ask myself, if you, in your family, know how to communicate, or are you like those kids that are at meal tables where everyone is chatting on their mobile phones, where there is silence like at a mass, but they don't communicate? He said this in his weekly Angelou address. So what do you think? Do you feel like that the phone thing is hindering the communication that you're having with other people? I mean, you see the phones everywhere. I am as guilty as anyone else when it comes to actually messing around with them.
Duh.
But what do? Are you constantly on your phone? Is it a distraction for the things that you do? Now, I'm not trying to make this a religious type of thing, but this is the Pope. Pope Francis is saying this. So what do you think? Do you think it has some validity to the conversation? Think about that real quick, because this is important. The United States population grew this year at the lowest rate since World War I. According to the data released by the U.S. Census Bureau, the net population increased only by 1.5 million people, or about 0.5%. The natural increase was also less than 1 million people. That's when you subtract the number of deaths from births, of course. Analysts attribute it to the increased deaths of baby boomers who are entering their early 70s now, as well as a slower birth rates among millennials. So I'm kind of confused here. We talked at the very beginning of the show that people were banging their brains out, but there's not more kids being born in contrast to how many people are dying. I don't know. I'm just making a statement based on a couple of news stories here.
Duh.
Let's continue. The Seattle Public School Systems has mandated vaccination for all students following to measles outbreak in the Washington state area. Students will have to provide proof of vaccination to the school nurse in order to attend class. There is at least 10 grace periods to make good as well. By the district estimates, some 2,000 students need vaccinations. That's a lot of people. And I know that the vaccination thing has always been a controversy. I've been seeing that for years about people saying that you should vaccinate, you shouldn't vaccinate. I mean, I guess it's entirely up to you and what you want to do with your children. But here they're telling you you can't send your kid to school if you don't vaccinate. Anyways, the California internet privacy law goes into effect on New Year's Day. Some websites around the globe are making last-minute changes to be compliant rather than sort out with which users are accessing the site from California. The law allows internet users to instruct websites to explicitly not sell their data collected on sites by third parties. But small businesses worry not. The owner of the site must do more than $25 million in gross revenue a year or have the data on over 50,000 people. So I guess some websites will be doing some changes here tonight, but $25 million, 50,000 people, kind of interesting combination there on how that will actually work out. So what's going to happen to your website? Does that need to be changed? And keep in mind that if you're in the glorious state of California, you want to take a look at those different websites that might be still tracking you. Let's go ahead and continue here. Let's just say it this way. A 7-Eleven franchisee in Japan wants to shrink franchise rules about being around the clock at all time. I'm going to butcher this guy's name, so let's try it anyway.
Duh.
Mitsuchi Matsumoto wants to close on New Year's Day, but corporate isn't having it and is threatening to shut down the store entirely. The convenience store franchise is owned by a Japanese company. Newsers report that at least 40% of convenience stores in Japan are 7-Elevens. So I guess that kind of puts you in a shitty area if you end up saying, hey, no, we're not going to have it, and they're going to shut you down entirely if you go ahead and do it anyways. Let's continue. One analyst spooked Tesla stock in a big way, and that was on Monday. The electric car maker slid 4% on rumors that it will miss its sales target for the fourth quarter. The analyst peddling those are also shares that could have been halved in 2020. So who knows? Who knows if it's true? Who knows if it's false? I'm just sharing the information with you. And this is what we do here on the Rated R Safety Show.
Duh.
Anyways, let's continue. Medical journal JAMA finds an 85% increase of opioid overdoses death rates over the last 5 years in areas that have been an automotive assembly plant close by. The study looked at 112 counties that had a closure and where the plant represented a high number of employees. After 5 years, the overdose death rate plateaued, and a study indicated that information. Wow, now we went into somber music almost at the same time. Anyways, no lottery winner over on the Friday that occurred last week. So tonight's drawing will be for $55 million jackpot or $37 million cash payout. No winner on Saturday night Powerball drawing. Wednesday's drawing will be for $220 million jackpot or $149.2 million cash payout. Hey, I'll take it either way. Doesn't sound bad either way for me. Or you, what I would assume. Anyways, let's talk about the days of the year today that you can celebrate. Make Up Your Mind Day, National Champagne Day, No Interruption Day, No Voice Day, Universal Hour of Peace Day, World Peace Meditation Day, and Unlucky Day. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, it's New Year's Eve, the last day of the decade. Anyway, so that sounds like some fun stuff that could be happening out there in your neck of the woods and in my neck of the woods. So, this is the last episode of the decade. This is the last episode that we're going to be doing for the 2019, of course, because it's the last day. So we're going to be, powering forward, getting the Rated R Safety Show out there a little bit more and more. So don't worry about that. The first couple of days here of the year will be kind of interesting, but we'll take a look at it together, see what we can come up with. Anyways, thank you for allowing me the pleasure this year to enter into your ear holes and going into your cars and onto your walks and into your homes as you're listening to the Rated R Safety Show. It has been my pleasure to communicate with you.
Duh.
I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, bye. And until next year, 2020, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Duh.
The countdown has begun on January 14th, 2020. Find out only on Safety FM.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.